Welcome back to Savvy Sex in 60 Seconds. I'm Dr. Jenny, and this sexy social distance series is brought to you by Adam and Eve. For our social distance series, we're going to be giving you 10 tips in 10 minutes. Today, we're going to talk about how to not kill each other in the quarantine. How do we actually use this time as an opportunity to optimize our relationship? Stress can cause couples to do one of two things, either push away and be isolated and apart, typically feeling resentful, or come together and be a dream team. If you have not yet come together and if you're not a dream team or you don't know how to be a dream team, keep watching because I'm going to give you 10 tips on how to hopefully make that happen. Even if you only apply 3 tips, that's okay. Sometimes it's just the tip that matters. Okay, tip number 1, make short-term goals. This can be, we just want 2 hours of sunshine a day, right? It's good for our immunity. It's good to breathe fresh air. It's just good to have vitamin D in our system, all of that. It doesn't have to be all at once, just 2 hours of sunshine a day. Another goal can be we want 8 hours of sleep. Another goal can be we want to have 30 minutes minimum of movement a day. The idea is make short-term goals, maybe 3 to 5 goals with your partner, and hold each other accountable to executing them. Maybe they go on the wall in the bathroom so you see them and you know that you have to do them every day. Tip number 2, make one long-term goal. Because making a goal as a couple, especially a long-term goal, means we're dreaming together, we're solidifying our foundation, and we have something to work towards as a team. And it feels really good. So one long-term goal can be when this is all over, we go on vacation. Maybe if we have the extra funds, we put away a little extra each week or each month to go on vacation, or if that's too much of a stressor, we go on a free vacation like going camping for the weekend. So set aside some time to either make these goals and also to execute these goals. Tip number 3, I call these capacity check-ins. You want to ask yourself, what is my capacity? And your partner, if they are looking for a place to process. This process can be verbal or it could just be, please hold me quietly. So for instance, with my husband, I say, what is your capacity on a spectrum of 1 to 10? And he might say 8, I've got a lot of capacity. And I can bring my messy self and just process it all out loud. And then the next day he might ask me, what's your capacity? And I might still be in a messy place. I might be like, my capacity is a 2, but I'm going to go outside for a walk in the sunshine. I'm going to reset, water my garden, and then I'm back and my capacity is an 8 and I can hold space for him. So you want to be able to quantify your capacity and check in so that you can really help each other hold space. Don't forget to bring your compassion to those capacity check-ins. Okay, tip number 4. Understanding how the dream team works. Typically, the team functions like a boat. We have an anchor. This is the person who is typically grounded, has the boundaries, is the rock. They keep it all together and they're solid. The person who is the sails tends to be a little messier, but they are the visionary and they're dreaming and they take risks. And we might trade off in this crazy time where one person who's typically the anchor is the sails, or the sails ends up being the anchor, or we go defaulting to our typical roles. But if we know what role we are, then we can work together as a team. The idea is to really honor that all parts of the team, like all parts of the boat, are valuable. Similarly, tip number 5 is to continue to understand how the team works. One person is typically the internal processor, the other is the external processor. Think about a math equation. If it's on the board, the internal processor may look at the equation and go, 7. The answer is 7. And the external processor might be like, okay, 140, 7 divided into 140. Well, 7 goes into 14, it's 2, and then it's 14, and then 0, so 20. Oh, the answer is 20, right? It's a verbal out loud process. So the external processor tends to be more of the verbal diarrhea, and the internal processor, it's all inside marinating. Neither one is right or wrong. It's just stylistically different, and we want to be able to respect the other person and understand how they work so that we can actually get our needs met. So for instance, I, as an external processor, may need to ask my husband, an internal processor, help me understand what's happening in your brain right now. Help me understand how you arrived at that answer. And similarly, he might say to me, can I share how I'm thinking right now? Do you want to know how I arrived at this answer? So we want to be able to communicate the way we stylistically operate. Okay, tip number 6. We want to use our love language exercise or book for good use. Meaning, if you have read Gary Chapman's great piece of work here on the love languages, or you sort of know those 5 love languages: physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, quality time, or material gifts. If you need a refresher, please email us. I can send you a short article. If you have time to read Gary Chapman's book, please do. The idea is that we typically have a mother tongue. It's our fluent, natural language, and that is the love language that we feel loved in. It's the language where we feel like I matter. So for example, if I am touch, which I am, when my husband comes up and just holds me and touches me, I can feel him and I know that I matter. I know I'm on his radar. He's acts of service. So if I make the bed and clean the kitchen, to him, that feels like he matters, right? I'm keeping him on my radar. So what you want to do is A, figure out what your partner is so that you know what each other is. And then B, here's the key. Use it like a little piggy bank, right? Each of you has a piggy bank. We're making a deposit on a daily basis so that we can remind each other that we matter. And you might need to set an alarm on your phone. That's okay. That's how habits are built. We need reminders. And go and make a deposit. Because when we make those deposits and it becomes a habit, then it's easy. And then we feel like we matter to each other. So tip number 7 is sort of in this vein. I call it the culture of generosity. Generosity begets generosity. If you think about the love languages as an example, I'm not tracking what I'm getting. I'm not seeing what my piggy bank looks like, my emotional piggy bank. I'm tracking what I'm giving. And my husband hopefully is tracking what he's giving. And now we're in a positive feedback loop of giving. We're tracking what we give versus what we get so that everybody is winning. It feels good to give, and it feels like the relationship is in a positive direction because it is. It's a culture of generosity. So even if it's not the love languages, even if it's just like, I'm going to go above and beyond today because we're stuck at home, we're in a public health pandemic, and you know what? The best I can do right now is on a very micro level at home to go above and beyond for my partner, or above and beyond for a roommate or a child or whomever you are stuck with, or if you live alone, for somebody on the screen. So you're going above and beyond to create that culture of generosity. All right, tip number 8, needs. Naming your needs and getting collaborative with your needs. Naming needs can be hard. We actually have to go, oh, I have needs. Okay, now what are my needs? And then how do I express my needs? So I might have a need for safety. Most of us have a need for safety. And my partner might have a need to feel desired. How does that mesh, right? It doesn't have to be in competition. It means I might say to him, I need to feel safe. So can you please hold me and let me be messy and process my stress? And he might say, absolutely. And I have a need to feel desired. So can you touch me and let me know that you're still here for me in the way that I need? And they don't have to be in competition. One person may get their needs first and the other second, or vice versa, and we trade off. But we want to be collaborative because we're not in competition. Most needs can be met collaboratively. Okay, tip number 9, conversations on trust and transparency. These are hard. If you have a history where trust is tricky, this can be a definite hard area. So here are a few ground rules. 1, have time together where you talk through trust issues that has a boundary around it. So you set a timer, 30 minutes. 30 minutes a day, that's it. You agree on the time, and that's where you talk about your trust issues. The trust issues may be around another person, and maybe how you relate to a screen. We want to talk about the trust issues with the invitation for the sentence step being, here's the sentence stem. For me to feel safe, I need. Right? We want to take personal responsibility for what we need in order to have trust. Or to make a request for transparency. If we make demands, our partner is just going to want to rebel. Demands really don't get us anywhere. Requests do, especially if we have a request that has personal responsibility around what you need and how you feel. So again, set a boundary, set a timer on how you do this, even if it's every day. Have your 30 minutes a day for your trust conversation and take responsibility for what you need and how you feel with a follow-up request, not a demand. All right. Last one is just a daily check-in, right? Remember to have these daily check-ins. And again, using tip number 9 around personal responsibility. You're taking responsibility for yourself so that we actually have greater good for the relationship. It's similar to what we're doing with public health. We're taking responsibility for ourselves by staying home and being in the quarantine so that we can actually do a better and greater good for the bigger public health. Same with our relationship. My responsibility is to know what I need, name it, express my feelings with respect, and make requests. So the check-in can be, hey, do you have capacity right now to listen to me? Okay, great. I'm feeling super stressed. I'm feeling super messy. Can I just get it all out? Or, you know what, I don't even want to talk, but can you go for a walk with me? Or I'm overloaded with the kids. Can you take them for an hour and I can just be on the deck or in the backyard with some music on, right? You want to figure out what you need and make those requests and keep checking in with each other, right? Check-ins so that we're on the same team. All right, those are our 10 tips to be the dream team. I know I went through them very fast, and we're at actually 11 and a half minutes over our 10 minutes and 10 seconds, 10 tips, 10 minutes, whatever I'm trying to say here. So keep watching. We will try to keep it to 10 minutes and give you lots of good information during this quarantine for our Sexy Social Distance series. Thanks for watching and stay tuned. Bye-bye.